Up and down, up and down. That it went down there. I'm trying to use the iPad. I downloaded all the stuff again, and it is jumping around. Like when I scroll, I tap something, then it jumps. Really annoying. Move. That's not the camp we want. This other one. Other one.
Can't tell if that wind sound is from your open window or the game.
Both. If it's got crickets, it's the game. I got wind and...
I think it's in the game.
It's in the game. Yeah, I'm not holding my button down.
Pretty sure that creepy, like, breathing was you, though.
It's a fair assessment.
Here, I'll switch to something a little more suitable to the day. Called Haunted Cemetery. Put you a little more at ease.
A bit.
There we go, finally. 10 freaking years of scrolling. Ugh. They got chutzpah. That's really funny. Huh. And whatever. If it works, it works. Which I'm gonna switch from the push to talk to voice activity. Alright, can you guys still hear me okay? Voice activity?
Yeah, hearing you fine.
Yeah. Alright, perfect. Face is super blown out. In the webcam.
My webcam disappeared. I think it might have fallen.
It's almost like you are...
If you activate it and I can see your toes.
Silhouette.
I know, right? I'm like the inverse of... I think it's because I got a black shirt on, a dark room, and then my face is all super white.
It's perfect for a GM, because they are like the faceless one.
I am the faceless one. Alright, well, it sounds like he's not going to quite come yet.
I'm back.
So, I think we'll start with those of us who are here. So, alright. So, as you guys remember,
wait.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I have to brag. Steve
Go.
finished the computer, and I'm playing on my brand new computer he built for me.
Ooh, nice.
Pixar didn't happen.
He
Post him in D&D chat. I want to see.
said pictures didn't happen. Oh, he's gonna try and hook it up with his
I'm so dizzy. Ooh.
Okay, sorry.
Fancy.
That's the plain side. The other side's see-through, so you can totally see everything. And I think he said it
Awesome.
had water cooled.
Very nice. It's stepping it up. I like it.
Okay, sorry. You may continue now.
Just checking. Becca, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure. All right, so recapping as where you guys had left off last week. You guys had come across after having taken your boats and carried them throughout the jungle to try and get around some of the more haphazard areas of the river. You had decided as it came upon this kind of clearing type area, you'd seen some ghouls and different figures that ran off immediately upon your approach. And you began to see in the canopy above the remnants of what once was a skyship that was referred to as the wreck, or this is essentially the site where the star goddess, the boat itself, had been wrecked into the ceiling, or the canopy. The torn shreds and the remains of the canvas are draped about into the trees, the ropes, the different pieces of planks and wood, the gondola itself, all of it in shambles, and heard a voice calling out for help. Upon approaching again, you guys were able to climb this tree and be able to find some of these survivors and begin to speak with them. Upon which, as you guys had begun to administer first aid where it was necessary, you were attacked by a small gathering of Gorillian, is I think that's how you say it. Gorillian zombies, as well as ghouls that were all basically feasting off of the remains of the people who had either fallen from the ship previously, and they were eagerly awaiting for the rest of their feast to finish dying so they could have an easy meal. You guys had quickly put a stop to that after fighting ferociously between the Gorillian zombies and the ghouls. You were able to dispatch each of them. And as we left off, the Shield Guardian was walking to the north, following his last order of killing all undead to the north. And everyone is able to kind of catch their breath. At this point, you're just able to see... Who's there? Yes, I am glowing. Very, very nice. Bastion. And so where we left off there, we had done the experience points for last time, the inspiration, all that stuff, but where we decided to leave it was right at the end where we were. There was no looting having been done. Again, you're just catching your breath as your final foe has fallen to the ground.
I'm gonna go ahead and touch the amulet and tell the Guardian to return to me.
Okay. You do so, and you hear after a few short moments, just a as he trudges through the trees, the slogging of, the area, somewhat marsh-like, but he's able to return to you without issue.
How high up can he reach? Can he reach these boats with his arms?
No, these boats, many of them are 40 to 50 feet in the air, and he's probably only, I believe it's like 10 or 12 feet.
All right. So I'm going to look around and see how everyone is doing, like if anybody's really injured or anything like that.
Okay. I'll let the party. Venfina, I know, is up with Vidax, doing their thing. But I'll let the rest of the party members respond as they would. There's still the obvious... the obvious amount of exhaustion with the crew members who are still up in the boats, as well as those who had fallen to the ground. But that is just, yeah.
Since I'm still up in the tree, I'm gonna go head over and check on the crew.
Okay.
I'm gonna check on Kilziver, see how he's doing.
Hey, Preston.
Yes.
How do I check and know what my Blink Dog's health points are? I don't know how to see if he's lost.
You should be able to, when you click on him, I usually do it connected to the red bar.
Okay.
But right now, it looks like he's not hooked up to anything. For some reason, his green bar is hooked up to it.
I just found it. He has 22, but it says he only has 10.
Yeah, just a second. Let me get up to it because it's wrong. HP. Oh, that's not right. HP. There we go. The other one is his init modifier. There we go. Save changes. Alright, there you go. Now it should show up properly.
Hey, Preston, after the game, remind me to ask you something, okay?
Okay.
Actually, I'll just send it to you over chat right now.
Okay. That works. So when you check on...
Yeah, I'm gonna heal Falafel.
Okay. Alex?
How's Tiger Lily doing?
She's about 3/4 health.
Okay, good.
How much health are you putting into Phil?
That should be okay. I think we can...
How bad is he looking?
5 hit points. Out of 58.
Oh gosh.
If you recall, he was thrown and almost eaten by ghouls. It was a close fight. How much healing did you want to pour into him? And going back to...
Just a minute.
Okay, and in the meantime, Aurora's request. Killsiver, he's just in the throes of shaking off the paralysis, but overall he seems relatively unscathed.
I'm gonna loot him.
Get that Pandaren out of here. Loot him! Hey, if he's unconscious, I'll allow it. Roll a sleight of hand check.
I'll do it.
So, who's the crew we got here?
Okay, so for the crew, let me resolve. Oh, dang. So, roll me a percentile die, please.
She is cackling over here.
So it's a D100 is what you need to roll. And then for
I don't even know how to do that. How do I do that?
slash roll D1 or 1D100. 66. Okay. So, you find, well, at least what you see on his body is obvious. In his pockets, he's got some darts, 10 of them. He has a quarterstaff that he uses on his back, but he hasn't seemed to use it as of yet. He used mostly his punching. But otherwise, he doesn't seem to have very many worldly possessions. He seems to be very monk-ish, in the truest sense of the word. But he doesn't have any of his gold written on here, so let me go to D&D Beyond. Let's look over there.
Roland looks over and goes, I see you're making sure that he's healthy all over. Good job. And then I turn away again.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Let's see, campaigns and view campaign. Killsiver. Equipment. He does not show currency over here either, so he must be very squalid. He is poor as they come. So that is pretty much what you find on him.
Can I take some of his darts?
Yeah, you can take some of his darts. He's still paralyzed at this point, so...
How many different stuffed animals do you have, Clandon?
Really? Oh my gosh.
The dog has a pile of them right here.
Nice.
None of my stuffed animals survive that long with my dog.
So
he likes to rip all the fluff out and deflate him.
From your findings, there's 10 total. How many are you wanting to try and snipe?
I'm gonna take 6.
Alright, I'll write that down as 4. And then I'll make a note here on his thing. Darts missing 6. Okay. Then that'll at least remind me when he asks me, hey, why am I missing darts?
Thank you.
No problem. Alright, so he's able to, again, after a little while, he shakes it off. He's very stoic and doesn't really say much. He's going to go stand by the shield guardian until he gets here. As for Clandon, when you're checking on Nahar and these folks up there, again, what you see is people, their lips are blistered, and you can tell that they've been living on very squalid rations of water that has, whatever his rain has come in the past few days. Food is very scarce. They're very hungry looking. Their faces are sunken, but they are all they seem to be suffering from exhaustion more than anything. They don't seem like any of them are harmed or maimed or bleeding out, kind of thing. Benfina, are those the rolls that you're doing for Fal?
No. No. Never mind.
What do you want? How much were you going to heal him for?
Talking to who?
To Benfina. She was healing him earlier, or she said she was...
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Okay. I'll give you another 5
Is
minutes.
Becca at her mom's house?
Yes. She's in Arizona.
Say hi to your mom for me, Becca.
I will.
Let's see.
Okay, Biff.
Okay, we go back.
It's true. It's true. Very long time ago. I don't know if you knew this, but Roland, Aurora, and Clandon went to the same high school as Becca. So.
Well,
I didn't.
Landon did.
Oh.
I was Becca and I have known each other since we were like 10.
We were in the same ward growing up. We went to church together.
Long
That
time
makes
ago.
so much sense. It explains a lot.
Many moons.
And we're just super lucky our husbands are like get along so well.
Compatible.
Hello. Okay, that's
Hello,
Hi,
Sophia.
sweetie.
Como say. Alright, so...
Hello,
I didn't hear what she said. But... you guys are able to, again, at this point, Clandon, each of them are kind of thanking you guys, looking over the edge a little bit wary of the situation. Each of them, you note, they seem to be part of the nearby populace, but they don't seem to be from Chult itself. After discussing a little bit with them, you find that Thessalandra, I hate that name, Thessalandra Bravewing, Miss Bravewing right here, she's the captain of this ship, and they explained a little bit more that you know, they're very grateful that you guys had come when you did, and that they surely wouldn't have been able to pass off these Grillians, or the ghouls, or any of these, you know, beasts that they see roaming around, these large lizards, and that she would be very grateful if you could help her and her crew to be able to get to safety.
Is everybody okay? You seem not too worse for wear. Do you need any ration or water or medicine?
What is left of us, as we are all okay. Your friend from before, the paladin, he helped us, and as well as it seemed that the other paladin across the way is tending to a few of our other friends, and we are very grateful. I'm afraid we will have some hard time getting down from this tree, but if we can make that reasonably without, you know, more incursions of the things that live in this jungle, then I think we'll be much better off once we get to a more stable ground.
Okay, sure. We can let's get everybody down on the ground, and then we can talk some more.
Okay, go ahead, and
So
whoever's assisting,
I have some rope.
Okay, so you can throw the rope down,
Let me double
and
check.
anyone who's climbing down, every person that you try and bring down, I need you to make a or what is it, athletics? Yeah, an athletics check. If it's above a 10, it succeeds. If it fails, people are going to start falling.
Yeah, I've got. Let's see. Is hempen rope? Would that be a kind of rope that would be climbable?
Should be. Was it 50 feet worth of rope?
Yep.
When you
Is that
tie it
enough?
off, it should be just enough. It'll be about 5 feet short after you tie it off, but it should be good.
Yeah. All right,
Get
then
close.
I'll just tie it off to the kind of nearest sturdy branch.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a
Are you-
nature check. We're going to see how sturdy of a branch you
You
find.
know me and nature are undetermined.
Are you? That's pretty
All right,
good.
16. Yeah, you're good. So you're able to find a real sturdy branch. The one that's holding up the entire ship works pretty good. But you're able to find
Literally the one you're standing on.
you're able to get it tied off, get a good knot on there, and you're able to begin belaying people down, should you so choose.
Belay on.
All right. Go ahead and make a roll for Thessalendra. I hate that name so much. It's almost as bad as Dragonborn names. Athletics, please.
Oh boy.
Dragon names are like the worst.
They are. Bunch of consonants. Okay, first one succeeds, and you're able to get back up for Nar. So Thessalandria is on the ground. Nar here is the next to go. Go ahead and roll again. Okay, he's able to get down safely. Veloid. Next.
Lloyd.
Oh, Voloid, you're a hardy fellow, aren't you?
So as you're kind of coming down, Veloid, he panics a little bit as you're coming down because he thinks he sees something in the trees. And he's going to have to make a dex save throw at disadvantage as he falls to the ground.
Oh, he's gonna
Roll
fall.
me a percentile die, Clandon, or just a D100, and this is going to see how far you got before he fell, and that'll dictate how much damage he takes.
Oh, what did I do?
Yeah, he fails his dex save. So 43, that's I'm going to say that's 43%, so we're looking at 25. That's only 20 feet. Going to be 2d6. Roll 2d6. So he'll suffer 8 points of damage as he hits the ground with a thud, and you just hear this wheezing sound come from his lungs as he just is dang near unconscious at this point.
Hey, you okay down there? Hey, can somebody check on him?
There's a sickening
I think he might be passed out.
I'm gonna run over and I'm gonna do a quick heal on him.
Okay. You hear as you're approaching the wheezing sound that he gets. Give me a medicine check as you're approaching. Your heal will work either way. So you hear what you believe to be his rib may have broken and punctured his lung. So you are helping him in a bad spot. All right, next, this Dex guy looks a little bit not sure, so go ahead and make me another roll.
I tell the Guardian to come over here and play catch. Just in case.
He comes over. Okay, so 3.
Oh man.
3. He breathes a little easier. All right, the next one. Shield Guardian, Clandon first, make me a percentile die. Shield Guardian, make me a athletics check. Okay, so another athletics. It's going to be about the same height, and then if he's able to catch him, then it'll negate damage. So we're going to say
sorry.
Athletics with
get him, Vorn!
With a 12 or higher because he's flailing as he's falling.
Pull up his stats again. Forgot to do that.
Let's see if this will work. It might be loud. Let's see. This is this. Okay. All right, so he rolls. Yes, he's able to succeed. He catches him and is able to negate any of the damage that he would have otherwise suffered. He did, as he was falling. Did that come through?
No.
Oh, dang. It's supposed to be
You're
the
kind
Wilhelm's
of like
ring.
crackly, Preston.
Yeah, you are very
connection
crackly.
On your microphone.
Let me see. Is this any better?
You're gonna have to talk longer than just 2 words.
Okay, I'm gonna speak longer. Are you able to hear me okay?
Still a little
It's still a
crackly.
little crackly, but it's a little better.
It's not too bad. It's just a mild crackle.
What if I do it this way? Is this any better?
No, I'm still hearing crackles.
what the crackle is. Well, all right. We'll do what we can. Yeah, I wish I could. Well, I'll mess with it a little bit later. I'll have one of you try and maybe record it on your phone or something. That way I can see what's going on. Because it could be peaking. I'm not sure. But
Okay.
you're able to make it down, no problem. And Clandon, you're able to make it down. And then there is another person over here that is still on the top.
Before I go down, I look over and to see if Vinfina is still in that tree.
She is not.
Isn't
She's down on the
Ventina
ground.
She's not.
She
Okay.
did that Zelda warrior thing and
It
went
is.
down on the ground.
Mhm.
Is she conscious? The other crash survivor.
She is. She's in the same shape as the rest of them, just very exhausted. And it's a boy. Well, a very good-looking boy.
Oh.
Stupid elves.
Hey, yo. If I toss you this rope, can you catch it and tie it off and get down?
And they'll call back. I don't believe I'm in such good condition to do so, but I can try.
All right. Well, let's give it a try. So I'm
right.
gonna undo the rope and throw it.
I point over to the other side and I go, Shield Guardian, catch.
Okay, he moves over here. She's gonna tie it off. She's gonna make hers roll 1d20
disadvantaged
minus. Yeah, this is gonna be. I guess I'll roll. Yeah, I'll roll twice. Disadvantage.
By the way, did we get inspiration last time? I can't remember.
I don't think he gave that out.
I don't remember.
I thought we just did experience.
It's whatever. Anyway, I rolled lay on hands.
Okay, and I showed 4 and 3.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then I'm gonna also do another 5
Of lay on hands. Okay.
from the pool.
Okay, so he's looking a lot better for wear. Radas, she goes to tie it off, and in her stupor of thought, she ties it to something that breaks, and she falls with the rope and all. Shield Guardian, make me a dex save.
A dex?
Athletics, whichever. Yep.
Ooh.
So that's 50 feet.
The highs and the
10
lows.
feet, 1d6. Roll 5d6.
Ooh, she gonna die.
21
why so
points
many
of damage.
6s?
She falls, and the Shield Guardian kind of puts his arms out. But as she, whatever elf, the picture's a girl, okay? The picture's a girl. It says over here that it's a guy, but it's a girl. And hits the ground with a sickening crunch, lands right on her head, and she is completely unconscious.
I rush over to her. And I'm going to use, lay on hands and give her, I'm actually going to give her, let's see here. How many do I have? I'll give her 15.
Okay.
I know that's a lot, but she deserves it.
As you put your hand out to try and do this, you start to note something. Usually when you're using your lay on hands, you feel this connection with the person, the soul, the body, and there's the way that it's hard to describe, but the way that mend works, they both need to be present, and there is no connection any longer with this person. Their soul has seemingly evaporated from this plane.
Ooh, she's dead.
She is just gone.
Oh man. Can we quick load, back like I'm just kidding. That sucks.
Roll me a religion check, or roll me a religion check, Roland, or anyone else who's watching.
Yeah, I'm gonna kneel down and just start to kind of.
You get the sense, based on this, you get the sense this is the work of the soulmonger. Things that die stay dead.
But she didn't die. She was just unconscious.
She took a lot of freaking damage. They only had like 11 hit points.
I hope she wasn't. I'm sorry. All right. I'm gonna. Do I see any of these ropes? Do any of them seem to like come close to the ground, or where I could kind of like a zip line kind of thing down it?
No, but you could cut one of them and attempt to swing.
Ooh, yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
Oh, it's gonna bring the whole thing crashing down. That's probably a terrible idea.
That's the only way to do it is find out.
All right. So I want to find a rope that doesn't seem to be a weight supporting rope. Can I do that?
Okay. Sure. So looking around, you see a couple of them. A lot of the ropes are intertwined kind of precariously, but you find one of them that doesn't look like it's holding too much up. Maybe a few planks, maybe a board, but not like it's supporting the whole ship.
Hey guys, I'm gonna cut a rope here. Just look out below. So I pull out my dagger and go ahead and cut the end off.
Okay. Make an acrobatics check for me as you're swinging down.
I'm swinging down.
Because we don't use acrobatics checks enough in this game. Okay, you swing down just fine. The rope is just long enough. You hit the ground a little bit. It comes a little bit closer than you would have expected, but you're able to roll it off, no problems.
That was fun. You see that? Did you guys?
With a nice little tumble and the pa-ting at the end.
I am like so deep in like death rituals at this point, just to try and lay this body to permanent rest, that I'm like, I don't get to see the cool.
I'm looking around to see if anybody's holding up any like numbers on the plaque or something.
I'm making my way over to everybody else slowly.
Shield Guardian is looking back and forth between the body. He has his arms out like he's still trying to catch something. And he's looking back and forth between the body and Roland. What did I do wrong, Master?
Nothing.
I don't know how well this plan was thought out.
Master? Yeah, that's
Master?
I go to the body and I'm like, I am so sorry. And I start to pull the rope away from her.
Okay.
Did it get tangled around her neck? Is that what happened?
Well, sure, that could work, but she hit the ground head first. The thing she tied it off to.
Blood.
The thing she tied it
off. No blood,
She's a good like foot and a half shorter now. Her head's in her chest cavity.
I coil up the rope and put it back in my pack, and then I'll head back and talk to the group of survivors.
So I look back and I ask them what her name was.
Thasandra, the rest of them are all pretty just like shaken and just not really. They're out of it at this point. But Thasandra, she turns and that was our navigator, Radas.
I am so sorry.
Radas, you see, is a human, which again, you're using an elven.
Yeah, that's definitely elven.
Says that Radas is a neutral male Halloran human scout.
Oh, it's a him.
It's a boy apparently, but it's a woman. It's a female picture. Gosh dang it! Whatever.
So
we'll get over it.
I tell everyone to. I tell everyone that I'm going to be performing a ritual here to try and keep her body safe, and it's going to take me a little bit. And then I start preparing like some candles and getting out my vestments and everything. And I'm actually going to be casting the ritual ceremony.
Okay.
Which takes 25 gold pieces worth of powdered silver.
Okay.
But it allows me to perform funeral rites, and for the next 7 days, the target can't become undead by any means, short of a wish spell.
Okay. Perfect.
As I basically bless it with Gon's light.
Okay. I'll put a marker on her. And so you guys feel as this ground becomes more hallowed as this ritual continues, and this personage, you feel more at ease. The rest of this jungle feels like things are watching, things are out to get you, things are, you know, every corner you turn, something's trying to kill you. But this space is a safe space. Falx, he reaches out to Venfina and you know, thank you very much for your help. I fought for a moment there. You know, forgive me if I screamed. I thought I was going to become ghoul food. With both of my legs broken, it was quite the fright.
Are his legs still broken?
Nope. You used your heal. He's gimping, but he's can walk.
Okay.
So if and at this point he's basically still. You guys are just chilling with the ghouls that were eating his flesh. What are you guys doing, Benfina?
Wait, somebody ate his flesh, you said?
The ghouls around you were tearing into him.
But he's healed now?
Sure.
How are you guys playing?
Well,
Well, what? You cut off?
oh, sorry, children.
Okay. What are you doing?
Just making sure he's okay.
All right. So everybody continues to come through. Kilsver shakes off kind of the stupor that he was in and rejoins the group. Kind of seeming no worse for wear. He did take a few mementos from the Gorillion and others, a few phalanges that you get the sense that he might use for some powder or I don't know, something. So I'm sure that he'll come back and ask me to have some kind of kill thing. Put that in his character sheet, and any small parts of dead peeps you wanted. There you go. It's in there. Okay. So you guys are able to regroup. Radas is interred. Are you trying to bury? Are you trying to burn? What are you intending?
What I think we should do whatever she believed in, whether it was burning or burying or leaving to the sea. I don't know.
Okay.
We can ask the crewmate.
Yes.
So the solid whatever, Thessalandra, she basically you know, being in the right of our people, we do not wish to become like these other creatures of the night and the undead. So we typically burn them on pyres, on boats, and send them off to sea. But I think that what your friend has done has been a very gracious thing. But I'm afraid we might be able to try and burn her on a funeral pyre to lay her body to rest, so that she does not rise like the rest of these undead fiends.
Okay.
Hear this depressing music.
I'm gonna go start gathering wood.
Okay. You're able to find it. Do a nature check for me. Let's see if you encounter any unpleasant.
Yes. Yes, I did.
So there's a couple places you're trying to find some of these branches. A lot of it's wet, and you're not having too much luck. But after a little while, you do note that the planks from the ship themselves up in the trees, they are still quite dry comparative to the rest of the environment.
Okay, so can I climb the tree and?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're able
that?
to grab stuff, some planks, break off some pieces, and be able to create a makeshift funeral pyre if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
Okay. You're able to do that, and you're able to, assuming, light this fire. It is getting later into the afternoon, and you do see that, like, peeking through the trees, the canopy here is thick, but you do see small hints that the sun is beginning to descend in the into nighttime or dusk, but it's waning later in the afternoon.
Well, should we rest up or?
We should make camp somewhere. I don't know. That would be a good idea to make camp right here next to a burning body.
Or a bunch of other corpses.
Yeah, it's
And I turn to the Shield Guardian and I say, gather the other ghoul corpses and pull them onto this pyre.
Okay.
Do we check them for anything good first? I mean, like evidence.
My guess is they're all just. I mean, if you want to check them, I could tell Warren to stop.
Nah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't think they got anything on them.
Okay. So Vorn goes ahead and he drags them out. The Gorillian zombies take a little bit more effort, but he's able to drag them together into the funeral pyre. And again, the smell of this acrid smell of burning flesh is in the air. It's not very pleasant. But
I think we should go until sunset. Continue traveling towards Camp Vengeance, and that's where we're heading, right? Is Vengeance?
Correct.
I think so.
Yeah. And then we can stop for the night once we're far away from this funeral pyre.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right. Pull you guys back to the players.
So I'll command the Shield Guardian to grab the canoes this time instead of making everybody else drag it.
Okay, so he picks them up with relative ease, and he's able to pull them around. Your party members that are moving with you guys are quite astonished at this large construct that's kind of with you guys. Your guys are able to make conversation and move, not with ease, but you're able to move a little bit more. There's something comforting about being around more people that you don't normally get when... especially when you're sleeping in the middle of a jungle where everything wants to eat you.
Mm-hmm. Roland actually doesn't engage too much in conversation. He's feeling a bit morose.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to do while traveling?
I'm gonna go up to Roland and put my hand on his shoulder and just give a silent, like, I know what you're doing.
I'll give her a nod. Kind of like an approving thank you nod.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep kind of, chatting with Musharib and keep trying to just learn what's good to scavenge.
Okay. And he is more than willing to comply. There's some things he still does a little elbow jabbing here and there of different things to try and see if you'll try and eat something that'll give you violent diarrhea or something. But for the most part, you're he continues along that path, and getting to near the end, your travel is a little bit impeded by the people who are a little bit more tired, but upon kind of coming to where you believe you want to start to make camp, you start to see smoke rising in the distance. This smoke doesn't seem to be...
Ah, crap, it went around in a circle.
It doesn't seem to be looking around. It is not the same funeral pyre.
Oh, good.
You do see smoke in the distance.
Do we... I mean, I say we're pretty close to something. Do we want to check it out, or do we want to make camp?
How late is it?
You're approaching dusk at this point.
How much further is it?
As far as you can tell, again, because of the thick jungle that you're in, it's hard to tell, but you're at least able to see it through the trees, so you'd imagine it's probably...
That's fairly close.
Pretty close from where you're standing.
I don't know. Would it be safer to camp here and go there in the morning, or we could go there now? Might be able to find an inn or something like.
The fire the smoke.
I'll turn to Glenn and I'll say, I will
it...
bet you 5 gold that it is not an inn.
Oh, I said something like it. Maybe like I don't know, some beaten down ground where people have walked on.
What were you saying, Aurora?
I was saying, is it the smoke that we see? Is it like something like a lot of smoke, like something a lot of things are burning, or is it like, oh yeah, it's a single campfire?
Make me a survival check. I mean, from a general sense, it looks like there's maybe 1 or 2 campfires, but to get more specifics, you'll need to do a survival check. 16, yes. You get the sense that it looks like these are small controlled fires. These are not like a wildfire. They don't seem like... They seem like your typical either cooking fire or keeping warm fire. But there are more than one.
Okay, so then to me, since there's more than one fires, it's most likely will be an army or something of some kind is what comes to my mind.
Okay.
Are we that close to Camp Vengeance? Perhaps it's there.
Mushrib, he chimes in and he says, yes, I believe we are getting very close to where their camp was at, but I haven't been there specifically, so it seems like it'd be in the right area.
All right, well, let's continue on. Might as well get these guys to a more secure location, if we can.
So you guys are able to walk a little bit further forward. You break through the trees a little bit, and you see, through the foliage, you see crude timber fortification. The wall, this seems to be some form of compound with watchtowers, and you get the sense that there's tents because of the little tent poles that are poking up in places. Encircled by a large ditch bristling with large sharpened spikes. And there's a large gatehouse facing the river itself on the shore. There seems to be 4 rowboats tied to a wooden post. And scattered around the fort are piles of charred human corpses, flayed animal carcasses, all swarming with flies. And this is where... Oops, that's not what I want.
Do there appear to be people on the walls?
You do not see people on the walls themselves, but you do see people in the watchtowers. There's in each of these towers, you would expect to see, 2 people per tower, but in some of these, you see that there's only 1. Make me a medicine check at disadvantage just because of the distance.
Just rolling.
Whoever wants to ascertain their condition. You don't get that, but you do see them coughing more than usual. Like, it's not just like, oh, I sneezed.
I'll be right back.
It's probably the, whatchamacallit.
The curse?
Yeah.
All right, everyone stay here. I'm going to step out of the tree line.
Okay.
With my arms held up in a peaceful gesture.
Okay.
Ho there!
Okay, let me get you onto the thing. As you're approaching...
I can't see anything, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Okay.
Put you on the map, but it's not... There we go. Okay, did that work? Roland, yes,
Yeah,
Roland's on there.
Ooh, I'm tiny.
Killsover, I know, I don't know why every time I put you on the board you're small. Venfina. Tiger Lily. You're in the ocean. And Aurora. Did I get everybody? Except for Videx. Videx over here. And the others. Okay. So now you're in there. Let me make you larger so you're not disappearing into the grass. I can barely see you. All right, there we go. So on approach, you're kind of walking towards where you can see a makeshift moat of dirt through this. And one of the guards kind of raises one of the lanterns and he says, "Ho there!"
Hail, my name is Roland Greenfield, the Paladin of Gond, and I'm traveling with my companions trying to get to Camp Vengeance. Do you know, is this the place?
Well, you're in luck. This is the place itself. And you say, what was your name again?
Roland Greenfield.
Right, one moment. And the guard, he kind of talks to the other guard. The other guard runs down the steps, leaves for a minute, and then comes back. He says, "Well, you've been granted entrance. Are you the only one?"
No, I've got several companions in my party, and then we have some women and men that we've rescued from an airship that was crashed not too far from here.
All right, well, bring them forward.
Also, there is a large dog, a panther, and a mechanical man.
Curious, his eye kind of raises for a second. Curious travel companions indeed. I would request that you all prepared for inspection and make sure that none of you are undead, of course. But you've made it to the right place.
Of course. Are you all right if we tie our canoes next to yours?
Yes, no problem at all. You just over here, and yes, come along. So he's gonna go down.
So I'll turn around to the party and I'll wave them all over, and then I'll grab the amulet and command the shield guardian to bring the canoes over so we can tie them up.
Okay. So you guys are able to tie them up, and the guards come down. These guys are not dressed in your typical fashion. One of them, of the 3 or 4 people that come out of the gate, 2 of them are dressed in what seem to be scale mail or some form of chainmail. And then the other one of them is more in leathers and in more what you have kind of grown to expect from the Cholt area. But you get the sense that these people are not they're not natives to this land. And 2 of them actually have a symbol that you guys would probably recognize. It's the same symbol that your friend from Phandalin had, Sildar Hallwinter. You recognize this as being the gauntlet. Order the Gauntlet.
The Order of the Gauntlet?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll walk up to them as everybody else is getting ready, and I will... I'll actually salute.
Okay.
Just give them a brief salute and say, "You're with the Order of the Gauntlet."
That we are. We've come to these lands to find some of these mysteries and to take care of some of the evils that we've known that have pervaded the area, trying to bring some law and order. But as you can see, this jungle is much more difficult to tame than one might have guessed at face value.
Yeah, we've been noticing that as well.
We've only had, 3 raids this week. I lost count of how many undead that I've had to burn. And he just kind of goes on and on about Triceratops that tried to smash its way through the gate the other day, and all kinds of different just random chaos. They go ahead and they go through. Everyone's able to make it through inspection. The shield guardian, they're a little bit concerned with. The guard says, "Well, is he going to be a threat to the others in the camp, or
he follows my commands, and therefore the commands of Gond."
Make a persuasion check. Okay.
And then I'll turn around and go, "Memphina, they won't let him in."
He looks at you and says, "Well, I'm afraid I'm not sure we can permit."
We can leave him at the gate on guard.
Yeah, I'll actually put him to the beach, and I'll command him to stand like just where he is, basically, and then I'll put my hand on the amulet and go, "Vorn, sleep."
Kind of goes to sleep. The guards are looking at each other, just like, again, this is completely new to them, and you see a little thing pop up in your screen. Guard will remember this. So you guys are able to come in. They bring some people out. You see some of these folks seem to be acolytes of some kind, or clerics of a sort. All of them wearing their garb, which normally you would expect to be very clean, and what have you. They're all just ridden with mud and just smattered with different things. Many of them, you get the sense, are also ill, but they're here out trying to help these other folk that you brought with you to go inside, and they are able to take them to the tents that you see.
I'll pull one of the guards aside and say, there seems to be some illness running around.
Yes, indeed. We've got many different things that we were. I'm afraid, don't tell the commander, but I don't know that we were well prepared for. And then one of the other guys who looks more Cholton than the others, he says, "These idiots tried to drink the water. A few of them got some throat leeches. A few of them got the mad monkey fever, and many of these all perils that people will find in this jungle. And I'm just glad we got away with our lives, because
if you would like, you can direct me to the ones who are sickest, and I can try and heal them myself."
I believe they would appreciate that. If you each would like to go, it's just down here. So he gestures to a tent to the south. You see, as you're passing through, there's a bunch of kind of makeshift fortifications where they have what seems to be some goats and carapaces of old dead pigs. That you get the sense have died of just sickness and illness, and that have not been left to eat. They're not going to eat them because, yeah.
All right. So, when we get into the tent, basically, I want to consult with whoever's there and find out who is the sickest, who is like kind of on the ropes, because my lay on hands can cure disease.
Okay. So you go in there. What's the rest of the party doing? Well, in the meantime?
Being silent.
Silento.
I'll be in my room pretending like I don't exist.
Glendon dies. Just kidding. Vina?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
What are people's reactions to Vidax?
They don't seem too concerned. They do notice that the way he moves and how large he is, but they don't seem bothered by his presence.
Okay.
I want to ask. I'm looking around. I don't see a lot of people, so I kind of ask. How many people are in the camp at the moment?
Okay. So he gestures around. He says, we used to have a much larger force, but at this point, there's not too many of us left. Maybe 40, 50 of us. We all had we had left many of our brothers to die. Previously from Camp Righteous. We have learned from many of our mistakes. But as you can see, this is no way to live. And gesturing around, you see that a lot of when coming from Chult and from the Point Nyanzaru, you know how well their aqueducts worked and how efficient that society was. You see here something that you would expect to see more in Phandalin, the types of construction, the types of wares that they're using. And there's a lot of issues with water pooling up in places. There's a lot of mosquitoes buzzing around. You have a lot of just the conditions here are just generally wet and miserable.
Okay. 1 second.
Okay.
So we're trying to make our way back to Port Nyanzaru. If there's any airships or anything that makes regular deliveries here that we might be able to get back, or what's the best way to kind of make our way back there?
Well, your friends here that you brought with you, I'd seen them on a few occasions. They brought supplies. Most of the time we get people that supplies that are coming from Point Nyanzaru through the river. But as far as I know, that's the rowboats are the easiest way to get about. If you're planning on going on foot, there's many undead that we have yet to cut through.
Okay. Where did those the people we rescued end up?
They're in the medical tent with Roland at the moment.
All right, then I'll just is there a place the rest of us can kind of set up camp for the night? Maybe find some rest.
I don't know. We will have to wait until Niles returns. He is our commander. He will have to say who can stay and go permanently. But for now,
Okay.
we can grant the few of you passage into here.
Okay. Is there anything else that the rest of us could do to help while we wait? Or I'll speak for myself. Anything I can do.
Roll me a persuasion check. Let me see how much you can. He trusts you. Okay. So looking at you, he says, "Well, if you really want to help, there's some menial tasks that could be done. Obviously, most of us guards are run thin. Those of us who are not on duty are generally sick. But you know, there's the goats need feeding. There's some carcasses that need to be burned. If you'd like, then perhaps you can help with those. But those I will have to lay that order. I can introduce you to a few of the people here, and perhaps maybe the quartermaster might have something for you. But for now, those, I believe, if you want to make yourself useful, those would be things that would help, that most people overlook."
Right. Sure. I can take care of some of those things.
Okay.
And I start busying myself with the things he had requested.
Okay.
Starting with feeding the goats and then maybe taking care of them.
Okay. So Glennon goes and does that. I'm gonna say Kilsiver just chills out somewhere. Wherever. Vina and Aurora, what are you guys doing?
Aurora is putting kids to bed.
Okay. So Aurora's... What's up?
Oh, I was just checking on the people that we rescued, making sure they were all...
Okay. So they are in... There's two separate tents here. So the one that Roland went down to, he's tending to, had a lot of the more, I guess, I don't know what I call it, the quarantine area. And then to the north, there's people who are still injured, but not necessarily as kind of dire. That's up to the north. So going into that, if that's what you wanted to do, there are, again, there's the two medicine tents. The one in the center, you get the sense, is the command tent, based on the people who are posted there, and the kind of the messengers are going in and out. Upon entering the tents, this goes for both of you, kind of a description, I guess, for each of those areas. These tents each have a varying amount of soldiers, and their illnesses kind of vary from different any kind of given thing. But you see the acolytes themselves, and then one in particular who seems to be managing them, going back and forth, leaving the tent, coming back. Each of you have seen her on different kind of accounts. But for the most part, each of them are just doing their best. You know, they all look like they've got bags under their eyes. You look like they've been working kind of day and night, trying to just keep things pulled together and not having people, nobody die on them. There's people who are on different parts of... I'm getting it here. Jesus, there is... One second. There it is. Okay, so there's a couple of them. You see that I'm trying to make sure that I describe this correctly. You see a couple of them who are tied to their beds, to their different cots and things. They're kind of thrashing about. A few of them kind of looking wild-eyed, speaking different, in unintelligible words. Just kind of like looking back and forth, just darting back. You're just really kind of mimicky. You see another person, other folks that aren't. They're a little more docile, but they are kind of shivering violently. You see that their general physique is pale. They have a cold fever, kind of like the cold sweat going on. And then you see others that have essentially kind of like a I don't know how you want to explain it, like a black under the skin. You see just the faintest sense of like these almost like veins around these people's throats that are just wriggling just under the skin, back and forth, and just and these people obviously show discomfort when this is happening. You see some of them are trying to sleep, and then when this seeming frenzy starts, then they're awakened again. They're drinking water, but they're just it's like the worst strep throat that you ever had in your life, kind of thing. But that's what you see all around.
I'm going to introduce myself to the kind of the main acolyte that's been running between the two tents.
Okay. So her name, she introduces herself as Sister Cyas.
Can you spell that for me?
Cyas.
Because I was going to type it as Sayus, like Dr. Sayus, but that was not going to be correct.
That's okay.
So I'll say, Sister Sayus, my name is Roland Greenfield. I'm a cleric and paladin of Gond, and I have skill in curing diseases and detecting them. Is there anything that I can do to help?
Well, if you want to make yourself most appropriate, I believe it would be helpful for me if you could quiet these folks down. He starts gesturing towards the people who are thrashing about. These poor souls are infected with the mad monkey fever, and if the rest of my acolytes, we would do it ourselves. But at this point, I'm afraid that we are all not making very good use of our magics with the points, the exhaustion that we are each feeling. So I think that would probably be the first order of business. The rest, I believe that the shivering sickness, it can take some time to pass, but they are not in any immediate danger. But if we do not get these throat leeches in check, then I'm afraid that it might become more of a problem than we would like it to be. So if you want to make use of yourself, those are the things that these folks, and she gestures to, at least in that particular tent, she says, I've got anywhere from 10 to 15 people with these throat leeches, and I've gotten probably another 5 with this that have come down with this mad monkey fever.
All right, I will do what I can.
Right.
So with my... So I'll head over to the first one and start doing this. But with my lay on hands, I have to spend 5 from the healing pool to neutralize 1 disease. Okay. Cure 1 disease or neutralize a poison. And I have a total of 20 because I wasn't able to spend any and save what's her name.
Yep.
So I'm going to use all 20 to cure 4 of the people of their mad monkey.
Okay, perfect. And so upon doing so, you see that their muscles relax, their eyes quiet, and they kind of look around and very confused in coming out of that stupor of thought, not quite understanding what's going on.
With each one, I'll just give them a brief, like, you were under the mad monkey fever. I've cured you now. Please take some time to rest and relax and recover.
Okay.
And before I move on to the next one.
Okay. They each think.
And then after the fourth one, I'll kind of like stand up, swaying a bit, and I'll sigh and turn to Sister Sayus. Now I'm going to call her that because
that's okay.
and I'll say, unfortunately, that is I'm at my limit for today. But after my rest tomorrow, I will come back and continue assisting until I make sure that all of these people are that can be cured are cured.
I truly appreciate it. These people have been through a lot, and if you'll excuse me, she'll kind of bustle out of the room. But yeah, you're able to. Those folks are able to. As they leave, they kind of shake your hand, and they head off to the soldiers' tents areas. Each of them kind of joining small clusters of people that are talking and eating over some form of stew or slop.
All right, and then I'm gonna find my party, find out where they're holed up after that.
So heading outside, you see Clandon. Clandon's just seems to be hauling out pig carcasses. So if you want to join him, then you're able to kind of help with that. Vinfina,
I'll see it. Wait, first of all, I'm gonna look around the camp, just kind of glance around. Do I see an inn anywhere?
No.
I'll turn back to Clan and I'm like, you're lucky you didn't accept that bet, and then I'll start helping him with the pig carcasses.
There's some flat, trampled ground.
You said in, my friend. I was betting in.
I use the word in very loosely.
Right. Perfect. Well, you guys are able to continue about that, hauling things outside. As you're dragging these carcasses, they direct you around to the back of the fort, back here, where you see again just mounds and mounds of corpses that have recently been burned or otherwise just refuse. And you're able to go back there.
Are we clear to explore this whole thing? Because I'm still seeing a lot of black.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we don't.
The only places that they really don't let you go is in the command tent. And if you do leave, obviously the guards just kind of, as you're leaving and coming back, they're just making sure that whatever you're doing, they're not doing something shady.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. So Vinfina and Aurora. At this point, Clandon and Roland are cleaning up dead pigs and just trying to make use of the thing. Vinfina, what were you doing in the tent to the north?
I said I was just checking on the people that we rescued, just to see how they're.
Okay. Each of them are receiving various levels of care, and they all seem to be much better now. They're drinking. They're eating food slowly, and the acolytes are tending to them. You see Sister Sayed, or we're going to say Sayas, or Sayas, as she comes in and out. You see her just bustling, again, just trying to keep everybody in good repair. And most of the people in this room just seem to be just at the point of exhaustion. They don't seem like a lot of these are gravely ill, but you do see one or two of them that are still they're still in the throes of getting rid of this shivering sickness.
Okay, then I'll go up to the ones that seem like they really need help and do some land.
Okay, how many do you want to spend?
Well, how many people need it?
There's probably 3 or 4 of them in that room that would need it. The rest of them just seem like they need a solid night's sleep for a couple days. They don't seem like they're in the throes of death or anything.
Okay, so does anyone seem like they're in dire need?
Not in this tent seems to. You haven't seen the other tent, but this tent between the two of them has got the lighter load of.
Okay. Then
this is like the staging area. They come out of the ER and now they're in the. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, then I head over to the other tent.
Okay. So you see.
Now this other disease. Sorry, just as a quick aside question. So the bad monkey fever seems to be pretty bad, and the leeches are obviously not a disease that we can really cure. They're leeches.
Correct.
The other sickness, which I forgot the name of already, is it kind of one of those like it passes after a few days, or is it one of those that it eventually kills?
Talking about the shivering sickness?
Yeah, that one.
So once the symptoms begin, the infected creature regains only half the normal amount of hit points from spending dice. They have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. End of a long rest, infected creature repeats saving throw, shaking off the disease on a successful save. So it's like a bad cold.
Okay, so that's more of a
itself.
bad cold. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Mad Monkey, I'm guessing, is just like a progressive disease.
Yes, Mad Monkey. You roll me a history check. Because you did. There was one encounter. History 19. So you remember reading in that wizard's journal about this Mad Monkey disease, and there was that note on the Shield Guardian, and the description of his symptoms would reflect that of Mad Monkey fever.
Oh,
so
okay.
it could have been what did him in, or the fall from a tree. It's hard to say.
Alrighty.
Murray.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that thing like back and forth every night. It better be something that I remember.
Right. So, but it's basically the same type of thing. Like in a normal circumstance, they'd be rolling, but it's essentially 1d10 times 10 hours is how long that particular disease would last. So it varies from person to person.
Okay.
Some can shake it off with better mental fortitude. Other people are a crazy person for a while. And then the parasites.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. And the parasites are more of just, they sap your strength. It'd be the equivalent of getting like a tapeworm. They're very inconvenient, but they're not going to end up killing you in the night, kind of thing.
You just have to like drink a specific concoction to kill them off slowly.
Yeah. You just have to. Yeah, it's essentially you have to get them out of it. Let's see. I'm looking real quick. Okay, yeah. There was a clause in there for something else, but that's not applicable, so.
Yep. Alrighty. So, Venfina, there's one more person in the other tent with Mad Monkey Fever that we probably should cure first.
Sounds good. Before I leave that tent I was in, though, I definitely want to check on Falafel.
Okay. So you can still see a little bit of bruising, some bruising on his pride, but most of it is seems to be kind of emotional trauma that is weighing him down. But if you were going to talk with him, he would just say, I'm in great debt to you for each of you having saved my life more than once. First, just saved us from starvation, and also saved me from getting my face eaten off by those ghouls. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm just glad you're feeling better. I'm glad that nothing too bad happened.
Well, I think we have varying degrees of what too bad is, but yes, most of the bruises are superficial, and they will heal with time.
All right. So then I want to talk to him and see what exactly happened, how they crashed, and.
Well, we were doing a couple different things. One of which we were making a delivery. We had just finished dropping off a large group of people at one of the towns to the south, far to the south. And when we were coming back, we noticed some interesting things going on in the jungle, and we had hovered a little bit lower to try and inspect what was going on, which seemed to be some undead digging something up in the middle of the jungle. We didn't pay any mind to it, but then when we began to hear the screeches of the terrafolk, we decided that it would be best to leave immediately, and unfortunately they were able to catch up with us. They began to rift holes in our balloon, and our airship itself began to careen into the jungle, which is where you found most of us. I'm afraid that there were 10 or 15 of us that did not make it, that were all, I'm sure you saw the remains of them being eaten by those foul creatures, but that's where you found us. We've been there for 5-10 days. If we'd been any longer, I'm afraid that more of us would have passed.
Wow, that sure is a treacherous type.
Indeed, we lost many, and our magician, she had fallen, unfortunately, to her death, and you saw our other, she was not ever very good with quite clumsy, really, but our navigator, you saw, the one that we burned, unfortunately, He hesitates a little bit and has to kind of recompose himself a little. But for the most part, the rest of us, you know, we will survive. This is the nature of this jungle, is to, you know, only the fittest will survive. The rest are not fit; they will be consumed by it.
Yeah. Was there anything on your ship that you guys were transporting?
Well, we were on our way to Point Nanzaru. We were ordered that there was a new shipment that needed to come, but and a few people that were interested in making their way south. But at the time, unfortunately we only had the provisions that we were trying to bring to Point Nanzaru to sell to some of the merchants there. But there wasn't really anything of particular value. Some food, some different, you know, linens and things, but there wasn't anything too valuable, I'm afraid.
Well, you guys get some rest, and we'll check on you guys later.
I thank you very much. At that point, he kind of leans over. You notice that some of these beds again, this is a very militaristic the camp itself, the way that it's structured. A lot of these beds are just, you know, it's be similar to that of a cot. They're not very comfortable, what have you, but he, as much as he can, leans back into this cot and tries to find some comfort and closes his eyes, putting his hand on his forehead, trying to just process the events of the day.
Hey, Clandon, did they give us any sort of area where we could hole up or a tent or anything like that?
No, he said he wanted to wait for the captain to return before making that decision.
All right.
So
Okay.
that's why I set myself at you know, helping and making myself busy until he gets here.
A good strategy. All right. So once we've kind of helped with what chores we can for the evening, and it starts getting a little bit later, I want to make sure that we get everybody together for kind of our evening meal and everything, and discuss things.
Okay.
Particularly, Benfina, do you talk about what the airship captain or the airship captain?
I'm gonna head over to that other tent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you go ahead and do that first.
Okay. So
but I do want to, So once all that's done, I want to have a.
So I guess
meeting.
So first I'll resolve that. How many points are you pouring into healing, Benfina? And we'll resolve that.
Is it just the one person that really needs it?
Yeah, there's just the one that like desperately needs it. That would be a hazard to themselves and those around them.
Okay, I can do 10.
Okay, so you heal the first person, and then there's another person in there that seems to be just getting into the thick of things with the shivering sickness, and you're able to heal that person as well. Coming out,
splitting my 10 points, or do I need to do more?
Correct.
It's only 5 for curing a disease.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Yep. So Sister Sias, you see her coming in and out, and she thanks you, and she says, "Well, if you're hungry, I know that there's this, you know, we don't have much here, but they've got some semblance of food if you'd like, and it's out here near the fire, if you'd like. I think I saw a few of your companions heading that direction."
Sorry, headed where?
It'll be over here, just in where all the people, or the people who are out eating, that's where they would be, is just kind of around these campfire areas. Okay. So you guys are able to convene. They have
cool dynamic lighting right here, by the way.
Is it?
Really cool.
Yeah, I really like that.
So it's you kind of settle around the fire. At this point, the sun has gone down. You hear the distant calls of different, you know, birds and other growls of creatures, and, you know, whatever goes bump in the night. You hear as it just goes in the distance. You hear the trills of different frogs and the croaking of different creatures, and you guys are able to kind of sit down and have this food that's some semblance of hummus without the flavor. So it's kind of coarse, it's gritty, but eating it is filling. So you guys are able to discuss anything you'd like?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say I think I need to stay here until I make sure that everybody is healthy as far as anything that I can cure before we leave, however long that takes.
I exited the game.
Whoops.
Oh no! Man down.
I think you're back.
So, my
Clayman
only
gets hit by a
concern
rogue arrow.
is is our time limit with
Message
this
for you, sir.
disease.
Yeah, and I kind of look down a little bit, and I'm
Soon
kind of
you
got
might
like
be of no
a
help to
little,
anyone.
like I'm twisting a couple blades of grass, and I say, but if I abandon the innocents, then I'm not worthy of life anyway. Not worthy of this life that Gond gave me.
How many more folks need help though?
In that room, let's see. So you got all the monkey fever, and you have what's your mana pool or your laying on hands pool? It was 20. Right?
20 for mine.
I still
20
have
for yours.
15.
You still have 15. Okay, so if you did expend all of them in a day and then you refresh the next day, it would probably only take you like 2 days to heal pretty much everybody in the really sick tent. It's still not going to fix the problem of just the living conditions here, but it will at least alleviate the major illnesses, and then you can.
I actually want to do
others.
something with that too.
Okay.
I have the purify food or drink ritual that I can prepare tomorrow.
Okay.
That I can start using to try and clear out what I can of their drinking water.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's something like I'll turn to Aurora and Clan and I'll say, how do people survive drinking whatever water? I don't know how people do that usually in the jungle or forest or anywhere outside of a town with a clean drinking supply.
Well, we have a river that is not in such a desolate kind of environment here where I grew up. The water that flows in that river and the rivers and streams where I'm from is relatively.
Okay, so there's no sort of survival techniques that these people can use.
I mean, we have. I bought a rain catcher. We got things like that we might be able to to use to help supply water. Water that drops from the rain should typically be purer than what you may find in on the ground.
All right. If we spend tomorrow, if Vamfina and I spend tomorrow healing what we can of the sick and purifying what water we can, at least in my case, I don't know if Vamfina's goddess has given her that ability as well.
Preston, I still have 15 I can use for today, is what I'm saying.
I know. So if you wanted, I can say that that 15, if you wanted to have used it when you were in that tent, then that would have been fine.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
And then
But
really
we have-
the biggest amount, like by tomorrow, you'd be able to help heal the rest of the shivering sickness, and then the rest would be throat leeches, helping try and treat throat leeches.
Get your hand down their throats and rip them out.
As much as
A lot of boiling water and making different regents.
yeah. As much as we do have a sort of timetable with my own disease, there's people in need here, and I need to help them.
Yeah, I do have purified food and drink as well.
So if we spend tomorrow, like Clandon and Aurora, if you guys could help them set up some sort of rain catcher, like you said, Clandon, maybe help them hunt some fresh food that isn't going to be diseased for them. We can try and purify what we can that's already in the camp and make sure that this camp is actually a good bastion before we leave.
We'll definitely need to present the plan to the captain when he arrives. Hopefully, arrives soon.
Yeah, I hope so as well.
I'm getting pretty tired myself.
I'll turn to Vamfina and I'll say, did you get any information from our airship captain friends?
I didn't speak to the captain, but I
Oh,
did.
whoever you spoke to, sorry.
He's technically the, for lack of a better word, the head mercenary, the guard,
Yep.
The muscle. Because if it was anybody else that got thrown off that ship, they would have died instantly. As you witnessed earlier.
I knew who to let drop.
Don't remind us. Too soon.
So did we find anything out from him about what happened to them, or anything?
You know, I think it was just him being in the wrong place at the wrong time. They just got attacked and came down, and nothing suspicious about it. Just glad we were there to help them when they needed it.
All right, so out of character really quick, do you tell us about what they said they saw before they were attacked, or just that they were attacked?
Oh, I don't remember anything that I should. Is there something special that I should have remembered?
Well, Preston was saying that they saw a bunch of undead digging.
You do recall him saying that, yes.
Yeah.
That there was some undead, that they seemed to be unburying something, which was uncharacteristic for undead.
Oh, well, no, I would have asked more if I... Sorry. I would have asked him more about that, because I didn't remember.
I'll chalk it up to the hard... It's hard to see and hear with Discord, so... Not a problem. Yeah, so I guess if she disseminates that, that's... You remember it accurately.
I guess more about where he saw him digging and what all they were digging.
Mm-hmm. And he would have responded at that point that they couldn't see very well from where they were at. It made the hair on his neck kind of, it was there's weird vibes in the air, and that once they were under attack with the Terrafolk and they wanted to get out of there and cut bait and run kind of thing, then they didn't stick around too long. So it wasn't a very in-depth analysis of what was going on.
Okay, so were they in the air when they saw the undead digging? Is that what it was?
Yes, they were flying in their airship, and they lowered to the ground to try and see, because they saw a large mass of something, and they were trying to see what was going on. At which point they started hearing the Terrafolk, and they were trying to basically give chase and try and get away, and that's when they crashed.
Gotcha. Did we fight any of the Terrafolk?
No, you did not.
So do we even know what they are?
If you asked him during that period of time, then he would have told you that they're essentially just denizens of this area that are airborne. They are cruel. Just kind of, you think of them as sky goblins, essentially. They like to prey on the weak. They like to, they like to be the commanders of the skies. They don't like it being challenged, quote unquote, by these other airships that the landwalkers produce. They're not very keen on other races.
Gotcha. And yet did they seem like they were working with the zombies?
No, they did not seem like they were working with the zombies. They seemed independent of one another. Well, as far as you can tell, because it's just the way that a lot of the sky merchants, people who are using these airships, the way that they operate is to, avoid, it's just like bandits on the road. These Terrafolk are always looking for trying to, pick a fight with somebody that's smaller than them or weaker than them. So they just ended up being in the, like you said, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing.
Okie doke. Well, then, yeah, I would have conveyed that.
All right. So after you convey that, then, and my apologies for the metagaming there. I just wanted
Oh,
to make
no,
sure.
I, seriously heard nothing when Preston said it the first time.
That's okay.
I'll turn to the group and I'll be like, "That's a bunch of undead digging in the desert is kind of something that we should check out, don't we think?"
And clarification, it wasn't
time?
necessarily desert. It was in a clearing in the jungle. So.
Oh, sorry. I my mind just said the word desert.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure that's clear.
Well, we don't have any other leads as far as the soulmonger goes.
Well, I thought that's what we needed to get back to the port. Is to try to get that.
Yes, true. Roland's obviously hoping for a little
paths
something
that you can take.
But if somebody is creating undead, they're doing it for a reason. Besides just terrorizing people. And if there's undead that are trying to dig something out, maybe we could find a clue to who's creating these undead there.
Unless there's like a city of humans underneath the ground, I don't know why they'd be digging all together.
Yeah. It does. It's very odd. You don't see undead actually doing any sort of labor unless there's food involved. I would definitely say this is something worth checking out. We don't really have a time limit, again, besides me, on when we have to get back to Port Nianzuru. It could be a lead that we've been waiting for, and if not, maybe it could lead us to finding out who's been causing these undead to rise and take care of them and make the jungle a little safer.
Oh, what do the rest of you say?
Weren't we trying to find some city in the jungle?
Yep, you're trying to find the lost city of Omu.
Yep, and so we need to maybe ask about in the camps and see who might know anything about that.
Wait, we were after a lost city?
Yeah, that's how we'll get to the
last known place for the soulmonger was in this lost city of Omu. It was the very first episode, I think, that we were doing.
Omu.
It hasn't been mentioned in a long time. It's been how many months is that? January? I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
So it's all good.
Yeah, we should definitely ask around the camp to see if anybody has any idea if they've seen anything like that. But if we're trying to find a lost city, maybe there's some undead trying to dig up a lost city. I know this is a complete stretch. There's no basis in this other than the fact that it's odd. But I'm willing to take that risk.
But do we have time to take that risk?
I'm still pretty healthy.
I'm not dead yet. I will be in a minute, though. I feel happy. All right, so as you guys are kind of convening in that conversation, there is you hear kind of a I don't know what you want to call it. Someone giving orders sternly. They're not yelling, screaming at the top of their lungs, but they're giving sternly. And you see two figures exit the command tent, kind of coming over here from the north, or not the north, the east. And they approach, and they said, you see two of them as they approach. They say, "Excuse me, I believe you are the adventurers that have come into town. Is that correct?"
Yes. I'll stand up and walk over to shake his hand.
All right. He does shakes your hand, and then each of them do kind of a salute bow that you recognize as being the kind of Order of the Gauntlets thing. And
I'll go ahead and be courteous and do it back to them.
Okay. So these two, they come out and they say, well, Niles, our Commander Breakbone is ready for you basically to speak with you. If you come with us, please. And the two of them kind of about face, turn, walk. One of them in front of you, one of them behind you guys. And you guys are able to head around to the front of the tent, where you're able to speak with Niles. And he's on a different layer, so let me get him. GM overlay. Layer, token layer.
Niles Breakbone, you said?
Yes. They called him Commander Breakbone, but you get this from talking around town, around with different people. Niles Breakbone is his name.
Okay.
Get the other acolyte there. Okay, cool. So as you enter the tent, you see again this. While it's a little bit better than some of the other tents that you've seen, a lot of this is just makeshift. A lot of the planks on the ground are still, mud and water is still making its way up. This commander that you would imagine, if you were in a wartime situation, he would be sitting at the head of that table. He would be the person engaged in that combat and understanding and the tactics. And you get this his face speaks of someone who is very knowledgeable about using the troops and the organization of them, but his brow is very furrowed at this point. You see a bunch of maps that are laying around, that he's poring over different things, different markers, and as you kind of enter the room, he says, yes, come in. Who are you?
Commander Breakbone, thank you, first of all, for letting us into your encampment and allowing us a respite. My name is Roland Greenfield, and these are my companions in the Fated Few. This is Clandon, Vemfina, Kilziver, and Aurora, and the Panther is Aurora's companion, Tiger Lily. And Roland takes a small pause here as he realizes he doesn't know anybody's last names, and that is an oversight on his part. And he's sorry. But he doesn't worry about that right now. He'll ask later. And he said, we've come to offer what aid we can in exchange for hopefully a little bit of information and maybe a few quick supplies before we head back to Port Nianzuru. Okay.
So he looks at you. He's he looks like he's sizing each of you up. He's looking between each, looking at kind of, you can tell that the gears are turning in his head. He's thinking, and it takes him, he doesn't respond immediately. There's this kind of dead silence that he lets hang in the air while he...
I'll lean over and say, Clandon, look impressive. And then wait.
Then he takes an arrow to the knee.
Yeah. Is everybody gone? Is everybody here? Who's here? I feel like I'm the only one here.
He just took his headphones off for a second.
Okay, alrighty. No problem. It's just I'm
elbow jab. Left him hanging. He was saying, "Look impressive" to Clandon.
Look impressive?
Yes. Yeah, he's sizing us up.
Yeah, he just introduced us to the head guy, so he's telling you to sit up.
Yeah. Impressive.
He sees each of you. He looks particularly at the different beasts of between Videx and Tiger Lily, and then again after this long, heavy silence, this thick silence, the tension kind of grows a little bit, gets really kind of just solemn. He clears his throat and he says, "Well, I've heard from a few different people. Sister Sinus, I spoke with earlier. She tells me that you have been making yourself useful and helping some of these people. I am grateful for that, because I was about to dispatch a unit to bring these people back to Port Nianzuru, because they are not worth anything to me if they are strapped to a bed. And I've also heard from some of the other guards that you have made yourself useful in trying to dispose of some of these things that have fallen by the wayside, because these lazy oafs aren't able to create a proper camp." And you get the sense that he he has this underlying frustration with the situation. He's used to being able to control every variable. And this jungle gets under his skin to no end. It bothers him.
Him and me both.
Yeah. And he says, well, I was going to ask that you would, and by ask, I mean I was going to give you the option of taking some of these people to the north, either by land or by boat, but it seems that you've already taken care of many of them, and I can put them back into work into making this a more defensible position as we need at this time. I can't afford to lose any more men. We're having nightly issues with the local populace, and after losing our Camp Righteous, I refuse to let, I'm drawing my line in the sand. We are not going to let them break us any further.
I understand, and I am more than happy to provide whatever assistance I can, and I know my party is very willing as well. If you would permit us a day's rest here, we can help you do what we can to fortify this camp, and I could even offer my assistance in the watchtowers. I do have a rather unique companion outside the walls that can help us protect against the nightly ambushes as well.
Yes, so I've heard. I'll tell you what. If you are able to use that thing to help with the defenses, then I will permit you each a single tent that you can share between yourselves. I think I've got 2 here that we don't serve a bed and breakfast or anything, but we can bunk you up with some of the other soldiers, and that should be fine. If that is amenable to you, I may have an additional task for you in the morning that I believe that your skills may be well suited for. I've been told by some of the other people that you've seemingly saved that they hold you in high regard, and they have told me a little bit of your exploits, and I may be in need of that. So I would request that each of you retire to your bunks immediately, and then I will see you at first light.
Of course. Thank you for your hospitality.
And at this point, he just kind of looks back at his papers, and it's almost like you guys aren't even in the room with him. He's just...
I'll usher everybody out. Like, go, 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 go.
We're out.
So once we get outside, I'll grab the amulet and I'll say, Vorn, patrol the perimeter. See if he can hear me from this distance.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
Perception?
Okay. Then what's everybody's passive perceptions?
12.
Anybody have above a 14?
Checking
By chance.
now.
Mine's a 22.
That is a huge passive perception.
Yeah, seriously. Holy crap.
I did it on purpose.
Because you have it's that feat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, everybody, you don't notice too much. You say that, you're not quite sure, but Vinfina,
Wait,
you do
above what?
a 14.
You said?
Yep.
Yeah, I have 14.
I got
Just me.
So it's just you. Everyone else hears the 2 guards about fall out of their chairs in the guard tower
You're in
up here
good
in the thing. You hear them squeal as they're like, "Ah, this is moving, but what's going on?" Ah! But he is. He did hear you. And
I'll look at everybody and I'll shrug and I say, I think it worked. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it worked.
So,
Right.
Well,
you see one of the guards run down from the tower. They run back into the thing as you guys are kind of leaving. You see he's quickly kicked out of the tent and sent back to his post.
Oh, good. The commander set him straight. So I guess we just find a tent and hunker down for the night.
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody's able to.
Go
ahead.
I'd like to go up in the watch area.
Okay.
And do my sleeping/meditating at bed.
Okay, which one do you want to go in? There's a watchtower here. There's a watchtower here, 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 and then there's the primary one at the front gate. Where you want to go?
Are there people in any of them?
There is a single guard in each of the towers, except for the front gate. There are 2.
So are we all in this little tent here?
You would be sharing, basically bunking up between these 2 tents. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go sit near the fire for a little while.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pull out my...
Pull out your what? You cut off there.
My dulcimer.
Awkward.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like there's definitely a depressed kind of feeling in this camp. So nothing too loud, or I'm just gonna, quietly pluck
Do
away.
a performance check for me. That'll be a first.
I get advantage since it's the first, right?
You can use your inspiration if you want. If you have it. 13. Okay. You do lighten the mood. There's people that it's not like everybody's on the tables dancing and having a full-on romp. You get the sense that no one wants to be seen by the commander lollygagging, but you do see more smiles on their faces, and you see some of that tension in their face kind of subside. So it does help. Gormorlum. Oh, and the other thing Kilsiver, you're right. Sorry. As you guys are approaching your tents, I forgot about this part. This is a joyous part of this camp. You guys start to smell the smell of refuse. And as you're approaching your tents, you see up here in the corners what seem to be latrines.
I was wondering if those were latrines.
Yes, so they're made out of wood.
They put us right next to the latrine.
And you see that the latrines themselves, they seem to have been built, but they're starting to tip one way or the other. And you see that you get the sense that every time it rains and it fills this area with water, that those latrines don't do much for keeping the peace in its place.
Hey, Roland, I think
so
we
some
might
of these
need to
pools,
take care of that.
Some of these pools are adding to the acrid smell in the air.
Job tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm already like, we can probably dig a rut, but be hard. Okay.
So.
I'm going to bed. I can't do it anymore tonight.
Perfect.
So Roland's gonna go sit down in one of the tents, write in his journal for the evening,
okay,
and then fall asleep because he's more exhausted than he's letting on. He was injured in that fight just because of his leap down from the trees. And kind of sprained his ankle, but that and the sickness, he's been kind of trying to put on a braver face than he's feeling.
Okay, Vinfino, which guard tower are we going in?
I said to the back.
The back one? Okay. And what about Videx? What's he doing?
You know what? I'll walk over to one of the ones on the side and have him. I'll let the person know that he can stay up there with him, and
okay, and then he'll be on guard.
Back and forth.
Okay,
here's a giant dog you don't know.
The guy looks a little uneasy, but he make me a persuasion check. Is that your okay? So that's your persuasion. I don't know why I didn't make the sound. 10.
Yeah, my stuff is being really slow tonight.
Okay, no worries. So 10. So yeah, you're able to persuade him. He's still not comfortable with this idea, but Vidax sits down and he, like Saint Bernard, he's able, or not Saint Bernard, Great Dane. He's able to just kind of sit down, but still look over the edge of the thing that this guy's looking at, and he's able to keep watch. So it's a relatively... Clandon's by the fire. Roland went to sleep. Kilsiver, I think he'll probably go... Maybe go stand guard and curl up in a corner somewhere. I don't know. Maybe he's eating refuse. Who knows? Rora, what are you doing?
Climbing in a tent and going to bed.
All right. Tiger Lily with you?
Kills eating refuse. I just got that one. Sorry. That just clicked with me.
I don't know what he's doing. He's doing something. So, okay. So everybody's able to sleep. Everybody go ahead and you can mark down having a long rest. And I need Mr. Roland to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Alrighty. So just to let Vimfina know, the extra +1 to AC is no longer with you. I have to refresh that every day.
Perfect.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Okay, so you lose one maximum hit point.
Day 5? Yeah, okay.
So mark that down. And you're able to do well. So as the fire begins to die low, as this is the epilogue for the evening, and then we'll call it for this time. As the embers are continuing to lick, you, Clandon, you continue to hear, and Venfina, the rest of everyone, you guys can hear in the distance. You hear the croaking, you hear the onset of rain in some areas where there's these localized, just not really rainstorms, but just small waterfronts that are just this whole area, the humidity in the air, everything about it is just teeming with life. Whether that life is for your positivity or not, but Clandon, you're looking into the coals and you're just kind of winding down for the evening. You see some people, as you start to put your instrument away, they start to move back to their tents and they start to the embers are just kind of crackling and you're just kind of left to your thoughts. You feel like you're drifting, and then you hear a voice, almost like there's breath on the back of your neck that says, Clandon. And that's where we're going to end it.
What was that? The hairs on my neck and I get goose pimples and...
Yep. The hairs on your neck go up and down. Up and down up
Is it a
and
dream?
down.
Is he in a trance? Is he having an astral projection type experience? Who knows? Find out next week. Or whenever we play next. Where do we want to play next? Good segue. Good segue. 12th?
Yeah, good segue.
19th? 26th?
I cannot do the 19th, my friend.
Okay.
Let's see there, we're going camping.
Okay, 19th's out. What's the 12th
what about
and the
the
26th
26th?
look like?
12?
26, we're out. That's our anniversary.
Oh, 19th is my anniversary.
12?
That's awesome. I think I can do the 12th. Usually I like to put a little time, but I think I can
27th?
do...
We could try Saturday.
Steve,
Oh. No.
when's Game of Thrones come out? Because we're gonna want to
That's a
watch that.
Sunday. Sunday, that's the 14th.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Is that really
close.
coming up that fast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like 2 weeks. Woo, less than... No, it's like a week and a couple days.
I've almost forgotten about it.
Yeah.
I need to find like a
Oh my.
first
We have
7-season recap.
rewatched- We've rewatched everything. We're on we have 5 episodes left before
Oh,
we're
nice.
all caught up.
So Joffrey's dead.
Yes.
He's such a
Whoa,
punk.
spoilers.
He's such a punk.
I mean, not for me. I know he's dead, but for
Oh, yeah,
I
sorry.
think we all know he's dead.
So,
He deserved it too.
Do we want to consider, because right now it's looking at, if we stick to Fridays, we're talking the 3rd. That's a month. We want to try to sneak in a Saturday?
usually Saturdays don't work for me because I have other game nights.
Okay.
With other people.
Is the 12th not good for somebody?
I can do the 12th. Usually I don't like to do every or 2 in a row, but I can do the 12th.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of doing it back to back, but if we're not gonna be able to do it again
Right.
until next month,
Yeah.
I
The
wouldn't
other
mind.
possibility, if there's an issue, we could see if there's any other day, like Monday through Thursday. But that's up to
No,
you guys.
I can't.
Okay.
I am in
School?
school until
Oh, that's right.
10:30 night. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do the
So
12th.
let's shoot for the 12th
plan.
then. Okay.
And then,
I will send a
after
text.
that, maybe we can shoot for like the 3rd.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll send out a text message, everybody.
I
So we
just
will
can't
see you
wait
next time.
that long to find out what the voice. It's fun. The suspense.
I'll give you a small clue. It was a man's voice.
Ah!
So, all right.
Really quick, was there any experience or anything,
There
or no?
is. We're gonna have experience.
Okay, perfect.
So, so with this, obviously there wasn't any combat, but I'm gonna do RPXP. Let me look really quickly. 1 second. Do some quick calculations. You guys are currently level 6 at 14,850 ish XP, right? Does that sound familiar, everybody?
Let's see.
Or are you guys level 7?
I'm
I'm at
14,000.
14,850.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. We're gonna go with we're gonna go 2,000 XP RP XP per person, because I thought you guys did a good job, and there was a lot
2,000?
of making sure. Yep, 2,000. And I know sometimes the combat list ones are a little bit hard to get through, but I think everybody did a great job, and I feel like that everyone's taking care of. What's that? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I was just writing that down.
And that includes the discussions, the taking care of all the different sick people, not leaving those people in the tree to die, and healthy negotiations with Breakbone, not having a total breakdown of trying to kill everybody in the camp kind of thing. I think that would be good.
Whoa, that would never be our option.
Not with Benfita around, that's true. She would talk her way through it.
Yeah.
Dang straight. Alright, well, yeah, we'll reconvene next week. And if anybody has any issues, let me know. Otherwise, we will just see you then. Thanks for coming, guys.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Okay.
Thanks, Preston.
A lot of
Thanks,
fun.
guys. Bye.
Preston, are you going to, have you ever seen Acquisitions Incorporated? Have you ever watched their stuff?
Yes, let me
Okay.
think. I'm trying to remember which ones I've seen. I've seen Acquisitions Incorporated, and I watched. What was the one with what's his face?
Yes, what's his face?
I'm having a brain fart. The Giants, Storm
What's he
Giants,
do?
Giant Killers.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at. I've been looking at it a little bit, but Acquisitions Incorporated is coming out with their own source book.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I'm interested, but I don't know how interested I am. So I'm debating on it right now.
Yeah, because I'd seen. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Let me see. That one's the Penny Arcade one, isn't it? Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yeah, that's the Penny Arcade one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd seen.
If you haven't
bits and
watched
pieces,
them
but
all,
I need to watch
you
the
need to
whole
watch.
thing.
Oh my gosh! Well, I mean, obviously, you start with the podcast.
Yeah, because this one, I think, what did they do live shows? Is that the one? I'm
yeah,
thinking
so
of?
they started out with like a podcast learning 4th edition back when it was in beta, right? And then they started just doing the live shows at PAX East.
Okay.
And I think about the 3rd live show, they switched to 5th edition was when they did.
Okay.
D&D.
Yeah, that's the one. Chris
Beyond.
Perkins is in that one, right?
Yeah, Chris Perkins was doing the DMing for it for a while. He actually
And then
just
he
announced that he
switched
was.
it to what's his face from D&D or from not Wizards of the Coast. What's that guy's name? He's the writer
Is it
for
James
some
Heck
sorts.
or
Name.
I don't know. I don't know who's taken over because I haven't. I'm actually a few behind myself. They were hilarious, but at the same time,
Jeremy
I watch.
Crawford. No.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Jeremy. I think yes. Chris Perkins gave it to Jeremy Crawford. That's who it was.
yeah. which is sad because Chris Perkins really did a good job, and he really got to know like the characters and how they managed. Like you could tell in the first podcast that like he was like, I was not expecting this kind of crazy campaign that you guys are throwing at me.
Right.
But then like by the time they hit the third adventure, he was just fully into this crazy, stupid world that they had created. So I love it. And yeah, so I'd check it out.